Now, David Tlale is an African fashion designer. He's born in Vosloorus, a township in the east of Johannesburg. He completed his high school in Vosloorus Thuto Lesedi and went to study Introduction to Internal Auditing, then Fashion and Technology at Vaal University, where he graduated in 1998. From 1999 until 2003, he lectured at Vaal University, specializing in compute-activated design, creative design, and pattern grading. In 2003, he won the Elle New Talent at SA Fashion Week and simultaneously launched the brand David Tlale. Well, the rest of, they say, is history. The story still continues, though. David joins us this morning to tell us more about his work and staying as one of the most powerful, iconic African fashion designers we have. David, welcome. It's so good to have you here on the program.
I feel like part of furniture. I've been in the studio for how many years?
So many times,
yeah.
So many times.
Thank you for having me.
And not without deserving to be here, because it's not that you've sort of just stayed stagnant and carried on designing the same kind of styles and things. You're constantly evolving and constantly moving and constantly making headlines for the right reasons, which I imagine is very important in your industry.
It is. I mean, because the industry we work in, or even just live in, is always evolving.
Yeah.
You have to reinvent yourself. But also, the most important for us as a brand is sustaining what we do and making sure that we keep sustaining job creation, training young designers, because, I mean, ooh, wow, if it's scared to say it, this year we turned 21 as a brand. And I think sustaining 21 years in this very difficult industries, let alone the economy, it's a thing of saying you have to have the guts to do it.
Yeah.
Whether you want to or not, you have to keep on doing it. Whether the chips are down, you have to keep on doing it. So it's very, very important for us, also for the generations to come, to say it is possible to build a successful and lucrative fashion, textile and clothing and textile business in South Africa.
Yeah. And how hard is it? Because you're up against giants like China, and let's not kid. You know, these days people want fast fashion, they want it cheap, they want it now. You put in an order on, and I will mention Shein, Temu, you name it. These guys are a big threat to creatives such as yourself.
Absolutely.
How hard is it to continue operating in an environment like this?
It is very difficult, Leanne, because here you are manufacturing in South Africa, and also labor is quite high. And then you're competing with cheap clothing that people always get disappointed. I don't want to lie about it. People get this product that they buy online and the size is small or the fabric is wrong or whatever it is. And people still forget, like, actually we have brands that we can meet one-on-one in South Africa. And the biggest challenge is that people like, okay, it's easy for me to spend 200 Rand instead of spending 2,000 Rands. But forgetting the quality and also having a personal interaction with the designer. And most importantly is for us to say, as South Africans, we need to rise up and fight against these cheap clothing that is dumped into this country or in the continent, because it's killing the industry, it's killing the economy, it's killing job creation. Because if we say we're not selling clothes anymore, it means the people that I've employed, we're letting them go, and then the families suffer. So it's an entire cycle that have a direct impact on the industry.
It certainly does, on the economy, on lives, on everything.
Absolutely.
And you know, it is something that you cannot reprise to art. And let me explain this to you, because in fact this dress that is being photographed now, I happened to wear it 2 weeks ago, but I wore the white version of it and to an event, and it's a dress that the first time I ever wore it was to a function for the president, and it was just before COVID. It was about 4 or 5, this dress is about 4 or 5 years old. And when I put it on, people's jaws dropped. They were like, what is that? That is unbelievable. It literally is a work of art. And it is, because I cannot emphasize it enough. The way someone, or the way I speak from experience, when I put one of your items on, the way I feel is that I deserve a spotlight on me. I deserve the room to turn and look at me because it's a statement piece. Now you're not only making statements here, you've made statements out of the country as well, but now I think you've made your biggest statement ever by opening up your own showroom in New York, the first. Am I right in saying the first South African to ever do that?
I think there's other people that have done it, but not on the magnitude.
On the scale?
On the scale.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe just finalizing the dress. It's called the Spectacular Dress.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called the Spectacular Dress.
Well, it deserves that name. It deserves that name.
And that artwork that you see, it was a collaboration with Jean du Plessis, an amazing artist that we like.
They even have the photo.
There we have it.
There's the Oh, man. Fantastic. This was not planned, David. I didn't even know they had it, and I didn't know that I was interviewing you today, 2 weeks later, but that is how beautiful it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, I think our move to New York, people ask me the first thing, are you relocating? No, I'm not relocating. South Africa is my home. Our products are still proudly made in South Africa because our head office is here. Our foundation and our roots are here at home. And now in New York, we've opened our first, I would say, showroom where we consult with customers, stylists come in to pull product, and also start growing from there, because I think it's a right thing to do, because over the years, I mean, Leanne, you've interviewed me about showcasing at New York Fashion Week, at Times Square and everything else, and now it's time now for the real business of fashion, because showcase is great, it's beautiful, it gives you the clout that you need, and also affirmation that you are on the right track. But now having an office in New York is just saying we are now moving to the next dispensation of the brand. How am I going to do it? I don't know. We are trying it, and I just believe as much as we've built in South Africa, we can continue building globally.
Yeah. And getting that name and that brand out there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your name, because this is something that's very, very important for you. And fashion is a business, and the business is your name. How is it doing there? I mean, in terms of you've shown at Fashion Week before, New York Fashion Week, you've been all over the world. Are people beginning to know who David Tlale is?
Absolutely. It was actually really interesting when we had our launch through the help of the South African Consulate office in New York, which was really, really amazing. They're always supportive. Having to invite some of the media people, some of the stylists that we've worked with, since the last showcase we did in 2018, they were like, we are so happy that you are back, to see the brand coming back to New York, because over the years of building and showcasing, they got to recognize and know the business, the brand. And now that we're here back, it's just perfect timing. And also because of the whole movement of Black Lives Matter, and also the evolution of the fashion industry just in New York by itself, because CFDA and also the IMG that organizes New York Fashion Week are now just like reinventing New York, because it's a very interesting season where they are. And I think we're coming back to New York at the right timing. And also just because we're turning 21, I would say we are now of age. To have a proper, I would say, workspace in New York. Yeah. So
let's rewind time a little bit and go back to little David in Vosloorus, because little David, I can't envision any of this. Giving a fashion show over the Nelson Mandela Bridge, opening up going on New York Fashion Week, opening up a big showroom there, doing all of these incredible things. What were you like? Did you fit in at school? Did you create things? Were you the guy styling the Sunday best outfits? What were you like?
It was a very interesting journey, because growing up in Vosloorus, obviously from a Christian family, going to church every Sunday, making sure we look our best. I've always had an afro. I think you remember those days.
I remember that well.
And at school, I was one of the black sheep, because boys at school had to cut their hair. And when my teacher told me that I have to cut my hair to call my mom, I'm like, the teacher wants me to cut my hair, and I was like, I didn't want to cut my hair. She came in, went to the principal's office, and I was like the principal favorite boy. So I was like, no, just leave him. His hair is clean. He takes care of it. So it was like one of those.
Yeah.
Because I was also a prefect and a head boy in primary and high school.
You were a head boy at primary school?
I was, yeah.
Look at you. Look at you.
And also being a scout boy, it was like doing like a lot of things. You know, in everything that I did, there was always a creative aspect into it. And then also, before I went to fashion school, I was a shampooist at a salon for like a good 18 months because I was trying to raise money to go to university. And so there's always been like that spark of creativity.
Yeah.
But now that I look back, I know that I got this from my uncle. Both of them have passed on. One was a landscape painter. I used to like just sit and just admire how they just fuse colors and mix it, and to do like this beautiful wall mural painting, you know, by hand. It would take weeks and weeks for him to complete it. And then my other uncle, who was a fabulous technician, he would wear a three-piece suit on a daily basis, distressed leather bag for his tools, and always had music in, you know, whenever he walks around. And I was like, okay, now I know where this fashion thing came from. And then later in the years, I think in 2019, when we were laying my mom to rest, my aunt was like, just so you know, you're not the first person who's making clothes in this family. Your mom actually was a dressmaker. At early days, I was like, oh, wow, thanks for telling me, especially
and you didn't
today.
Know this. You didn't
I did
know
not
this.
know all this.
That's amazing.
But I mean, looking back, growing up in Vosloorus was really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Because it made you learn quite a lot about life. Surviving in the hood, going through the apartheid times, and learning through Bantu education and making something out of it was like really, really beautiful.
Yeah. And I can imagine, because I mean, now as we're celebrating 30 years of democracy in South Africa, I mean, when you look back to, as you say, little David, I mean, if little David was staring at the TV now, seeing big David sitting here with big glasses and having really done exceptionally well over those times, your dreams, you're able to dream. In those days, perhaps it was difficult to dream, but now, when you look back, what would you tell this little guy watching?
I think, then it was very difficult to dream, Leanne, and now it's like, you know, and also I think growing up during the transformation of the country and everything else, you see how possible things are. I mean, my biggest icon is my mom, Nelson Mandela. You know, someone who sacrificed 27 years to go just so that I can be liberated. It says the dreams are valid and they can come to pass. And I look back today with those eyes that actually it's okay to dream. And dream wilder if you can.
Dream wilder if you can.
Oh, hey.
Don't you
She's wearing
that?
black. She's like...
Yeah. Someone had to break the black.
I knew you were coming. I'm here for the shades.
Yeah.
And there's a Neva jacket.
Yeah? Is that another one you
It's got my name on.
It's got
oh man, well,
you
know where to go. You know where to go.
Yeah.
Listen, it's always been a pleasure, and it's always been an honor speaking to you. And I think as you've described your youth to us, you've always had this gentle calmness about you. And a thing that I've always respected about you is that it doesn't matter how big you get, your head is firmly on your shoulders and you know where you're going. And that is a very important thing and a piece of advice I think anyone in this industry does need, because it's easy to get lost in the hype.
I think the most important is focusing on your journey and your path. Because immediately when you start becoming distracted about the fame and the growth and everything else, you get lost in the journey, and then you start listening to the noise, you start listening to say, oh, you need a bodyguard, you need this. Like, you don't need that. You need to live your life, you need to work hard, and let your work actually speak for you.
And make money. Because that, at the end of the day,
thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
You keep doing that. You keep
I
doing
love that. Focus on your journey and your path. And I'm focusing on the
so
glasses.
come to my store, come to my store in Rosat, and come and get this.
Exactly.
And then we can
and then you can wear them. David Tlale, fashion designer extraordinaire. So nice chatting to him. And that's where we have to say goodbye.
Indeed. And have a good one coming to you from Cape Town tomorrow. And that first sitting, we'll be there.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.